My name is Arvind Kala and I live in Delhi. Life is very odd indeed. I have a cottage in Manali which we use often, and one winter night 3-4 years ago, I was woken up in the middle of the night by the memory of a hilarious episode that had happened in my life. The episode was so vivid in my mind that I started laughing, stifling my laugh with my hand. Now, the more I stifled my laugh, the more it would burst forth. So, and my wife woke up and she said, "What's wrong with you? Why are you laughing?" Well, I thought of something funny, so I'm laughing, I told her. She said, "Stop laughing, go back to sleep." And I laughed. Then she woke up and she got really spooked. She said, is it all right? Have you gone insane? Are you all right? I said, "I'm perfectly sane. You want me to talk of Indian agriculture to prove my sanity? Would a madman talk about Indian agriculture?" She said, "Forget Indian agriculture. Go to sleep." I said, "I'll go to the other room." That spooked her even more. She thought that me laughing, if she heard me laughing in another room, that would spook her more than me laughing right next to her. Well, that night passed, but sometimes when I find that in recent years I'm overcome with merriment. Even when I'm quite alone at the memory of some funny thing that happened in my life. But before that, let me tell you a word about myself. I have an anorexic wallet, but I'm time rich. So a lot of my time is spent in inexpensive places like Manali and Goa, which I can afford, and where I often step out for a couple of beers at a roadside restaurant. And when I'm nursing a beer and, slightly high, and I remember something funny and I start laughing, a peculiar thing happens. People start looking at me as if I'm insane. That's the tragedy. If I'm sitting alone and laughing, I'm insane. If I sit around with a long face, I'm absolutely normal. That's the irony of human existence. So, can you imagine? I have to engage in subterfuge to prove that I'm not insane. I have to pick up my phone and pretend I'm having a conversation and somebody else's merry conversation is making me laugh. Imagine. I mean, can you imagine any chap more normal than me? No, not at all. But still, you got to. It's a peculiar world. Now, a word, something more about myself. If I may congratulate myself, I'm very, very smart in one way. I maximize fun from every moment I get. It's not, time doesn't pass by, it's we pass by. So I invent my fun. I remember 20-30 years ago in India, there was severe coin shortage in India, short change. And when in Delhi, I like to give coins to roadside beggars knocking on my car window. So what I did was I bought a stack of postcards, 15 paise postcards, and when a beggar would knock, I'd pass him a postcard and tell him to write to his dad. Now, I said the same thing to a beggar. I said, "Go write to your dad." So he said, he said, "Sure, but aren't you going to give me a pen?" He was so nimble. If he had been educated, he would have been an IIT graduate. And he was right. If I give a guy toothbrush, I should give him toothpaste. Well, another time, something which pleases me also is my own smartness. Once at a roadside, stop, a traffic light stop, I wanted to give 1 rupee to a beggar, but I had only 2 rupees. So I told him to give 1 rupee back. So he gave me 1 rupee, and I gave him 2 rupees. And I applauded myself for my smartness, because if I had passed him 2 rupees, he would have walked off and I would have been stranded in the car, waiting for the traffic light to turn green. So even that pleases me quite a lot, that I was so smart. I'm lucky, I am talking about laughter, merry laughter. I'm lucky. I manage to laugh merrily even when I'm alone, now and then, of course, and I'm quite, I'm an old timer. I used to spin a charkha with Mahatma Gandhi. So I'm quite lucky because, chaps my age, they don't laugh so easily or quickly or often. Now, just right now, for instance, I'm in my village of Uttarakhand, just 200 people, me and my wife. And last evening, I was sitting around with my wife nursing a vodka. and I started laughing at some distant memory. And my wife's used to that. So what are you thinking about? And I didn't tell her, but the memory was this. I find it quite funny. You may not. I had a driver 8-10 years ago, and the chap was actually a petty thief. Meaning he was a professional petty thief who happened to become my driver. Well, once I live in GK2 in Delhi, and once I was standing at my gate in my house, gate of my house, and as usual there was a gaggle of drivers hanging around on the road outside. And Arjun Singh, this thief, passed by, And then I'm a cheerful fellow, so I greeted him and I said, Arjun Singh, aajkal kahan chori kar raha hai? Where are you stealing from these days? And all those drivers who also knew that this guy was a petty thief, they burst out laughing. And that was a real funny sight, that Arjun Singh from my part of the world, he really slinked away. So I managed to have quite a lot of fun with passing moments, and so that's pretty good, yeah. That way. Well, friends, I mean, how much can I talk? And hey, this is real good stuff, man. Just send it to everybody. You got relatives. You're not an orphan, yeah. You're not a yatim. Send it to your friends, to your childhood pals, your college pals, to your teachers, to your children, everybody, in-laws, everybody. Catch hold of people and tell them that my videos are brilliant and they must see them. Well, goodbye, farewell. See you later, alligator.